Number 3 is phrasing. Now, phrasing is probably the most advanced, but the most important aspect of playing the piano, especially when it comes to music like Chopin, where it's meant to be like mimicking a singer's voice. So the top tip would be sing the phrase. You get to know the song and you can sing the phrase, and then you can get an idea of how to play it. You're going to look at the phrasing line. First section is going to be this whole right hand, it's the first 3 bars, and then the next bit is going to be the left hand motif, which is introduced here. The first one is probably one of the hardest phrases I've ever learned, and it's because there's so much going on with the right hand. You've got 2 melodies, and the left hand, you've got something completely different. For the sake of learning phrasing, let's look at this line that goes along the top, and we're just going to do the top one, okay? Okay, and then we've got F, G, and then we're into the next bar. So what you want to do is imagine you were saying this with one breath. Now, I've tried to sing this many times, and it's quite long, and it's hard to do in one breath, but I'm going to try, okay? I took like 2 breaths. Anyway, the whole idea is that you want to try and play that like it's being sung, okay? If you can get that sort of breathless feeling toward the end of it, you're going to be on the right track. Play that with no breath in the hand, right? Long and drawn out. Now, what makes it so difficult is that we have another melody going in the same hand. So, as you can see, the first note is 5 and 2. And then we've got the E and the C. Okay. Now we're going to start doing them both at the same time. You can see it says 4 and 2. So you want to get that same drawn out feeling and try to make that second melody underneath a bit more quiet. I'm not going to go into this too much because this video will just be far too long, but the trick I want to teach you that I learned from Mazusa, from my teacher, is what you want to do is have the top melody really sticky and legato. So your top finger, your pinky, where it says 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, that's going to be sticky. The bottom melody, where it's your thumb and your index finger, you're going to lift off every time you push a key. So I'll try and show you. You get the idea? Okay, and then on top of that, you've got to add the left hand in. So let me try. What you want to do with your left hand is go down at the start. I'm going to say this a million times in this video. I'm going to really drive this point home. You want to go down at the start of your phrase, and then you want to come off at the end and make it gentle. Okay? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Loud, quiet. So let's look at the left hand here. This is a pretty straightforward phrase that repeats. And you want to sing it. So it goes. You've got to be quite a gifted singer to sing Chopin's phrases perfectly, I must say. But the idea is that you get the feeling of the breath into the piano. At the start of this phrase, we're going to press down, and we're going to use our wrists to press down. And then we're going to play the phrase, and we're going to come off at the end of the phrase. So I'm using my wrist to go down at the start of the phrase, and then I'm gradually coming up, and I'm coming off where the phrase line ends. If you look at these pencil notes, my teacher has written in a little diminuendo at the end of the phrase line to really stress the fact that you go quiet at the end. So on the second one, you've even got a little tenuto, a little tiny line above the C and the diminuendo, and this little extra line there to really emphasize like a moment of release, a moment of relaxation, a soft ending. End nicely. That was always what she used to say. End the phrase nicely. Off, down. You want to try to use your wrist to create the sound and use the energy and take the strain out of your fingers. So we're going to drop down that first note using gravity to get more sound. And then we're going to use the wrist's movement up to economically create sound with our hand without constantly using our fingers like this. Down, up, off. Down, up, off. You want to get your fingering right, but that's the vibe. Legato is extremely important here as well. And we can emphasize legato with this kind of phrase and practice slow and with no pedal. So we want to press down into the key and then press the next note as you release the other one. Press first and then release. But do lift off at the end of a phrase, that's very important. So you want to let the hand breathe at the end of each phrasing line. So this was like the ultimate tip, and this is what makes you really play Chopin properly, is understanding the phrase, understanding the pressing down at the start of the phrase and coming off at the end. So my hand completely relaxes at the end of that phrase, and then I start the next one. You want to have this moment of completely relaxing the hand, taking it off the keyboard and having no tension in it, completely floppy, and then back to the next. That's letting the hand breathe. Keep mastering this. My teacher would explain it like being sticky. Imagine the piano is like melted cheese or like sugar, and your finger sticks to it. Like press down to the floor and then your finger is like sticky and stuck. That's a good way to practice legato. You really want to try and use that gentle thumb